Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Cardano and its native token ADA and the fact that nothing has changed, okay? People are a little worried about this slight pullback I've seen in some comments, but nothing has changed in the general plan of navigating ADA throughout a market cycle. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. And also too, remember, if you want to earn interest on your ADA and you're not getting too worked up over a few percentage point drop here, a modest 2.81 at the time of this video on the daily time frame, then remember to join the ITC ADA stake pool. We have almost 7 million ADA staked, which is pretty impressive considering it's only been around for about just over one epoch now. So where are we? Where is ADA? And what's going on? Well, yes, it had a red day. And it's just a reminder that red days can happen. Now, are red days anything to get too worked up about? Are they anything to get out of bed for? Not necessarily. I mean, you're talking about so far a 2.91% drop. Yes, if you measure it from the top of the wick down to the bottom of this one, it's 15.73%. Who cares? I can assure you that if I sold my entire ADA stack anytime it dropped 15%, then I would have missed out on a huge run here. I mean, look at this drop right here. This was a modest 42% drop. We have several other ones. Here was another one. This was a 42% drop. Here's another from the top of the wick down here. We had a modest 33% drop. So we know this can happen. And, you know, it's just part of crypto, okay? It's part of crypto, and it can be hard for newcomers to stomach these types of drops. This one was 55%, or 56 almost. It can be hard for newcomers to stomach these types of drops, but in fact, they are par for the course in cryptocurrency, and here was a 77% drop. Despite the fact that ADA has had all of these drops, and I've just shown a few of them on here. I mean, we could certainly show some more. Despite the fact that ADA has had all these drops, it still has been generally trending up. Now, I'm not an ADA maximalist by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm sorry if I'm offending you by saying that. But what I will say is that these sort of pullbacks are par for the course, and we know why it pulled back, right? Is it because ADA did anything wrong? Is it because anything? No, it's just simply because Bitcoin had a pullback, okay? And I know it can be somewhat hard looking at this, but yeah, I mean, Bitcoin dumped to the price it was 3 days ago, okay? It dumped to the price it was 3 days ago, and naturally you are going to get knee-jerk reactions with altcoins during that time. We know this is going to happen, and we expect it. And it's just par for the course, okay? So you look at the ADA USD valuation and we say, well, nothing has really changed, okay? So far, we have managed to move outside of our general over-valuation re-accumulation zone. Remember, that's what we called it a week or so ago, which generally was between these levels here. And arguably, I would say, to some degree, you could say we're still in our overvaluation reaccumulation zone. You just go up to the top of the wicks here and say, oh yeah, we're still more or less in this range. We have not yet had a decisive breakout to a modest $2 ADA. So we have not done that quite yet. Doesn't mean we're not going to, just because Bitcoin has a slight pullback. Now we're going to go through a lot of different charts here, so just buckle up for a second. Okay, it's going to be quite the journey. So we're first going to start with ADA ETH. Looks good. It still looks good. Okay, these are the prior local tops. We're still trying to hold that as support. Nothing has changed there. And we're holding it as support despite the fact that Ethereum went on a pretty nice rally recently and was able to break $2,500. Okay, so ADA ETH still looks good. We know there's still potential upside here. Okay, there's still potential upside if Bitcoin holds the line, doesn't capitulate down to the 20-week moving average. If ADA ETH were to go back up to the prior ADA ETH local top back in February, you'd be looking at a 65% move in ADA. And for a constant valuation for an invariant Ethereum, you might be looking at, from the current prices, you could be looking at over $2 ADA. So we know this is theoretically possible. And just because you get a pullback doesn't mean it can't go back up. Now, Is it all fun and games? Of course not, right? Of course not. And we have to argue, you know, and we have to do this in every video, because if we don't, then we're going to get people that might not are that may not be fully in tune with the downside risk. Remember the bull market support band as the downside risk in a bull market, okay? And we went to that back in July. Okay, and we actually went below it. So this was a 54% drop down in September, but we more or less rode that bull market support band from August until November. So there will probably be times during the market cycle where things are slightly bearish, meaning they've pulled back and they're not immediately going back up. Okay, kind of like this one, where we pulled back and we just kind of went sideways for a while. We expect this, if history is any indication by what happened with Ethereum last market cycle. It would be weird if it didn't happen. And I would say it would be more concerning if the price just did this, where it just went straight up and did not have any of these long consolidation areas. Because if you go back to 2017 and 2018, it basically didn't have consolidation areas. I mean, this doesn't have all the price history, because we know it started at just pennies. I mean, this takes it down to maybe 8 cents or so, but it more or less just went straight up. Okay, more or less just went straight up. None of these long consolidation periods, similar to what Ethereum had last cycle, where it had these consolidation periods where it built support off of and continued higher. Okay, if you go look at the history of EtherUSD did that. I mean, it consolidated for a while and ultimately was able to trend higher. This time it just went straight up. This time it actually capitulated before moving back up. But nevertheless, you still get these consolidation periods on the route to something greater. And yes, while at some point the Ethereum correction came, it came down to this level, which was still, as measured from, say, the bottom of this wick right here, which was still a modest 18,000%, almost 19,000% above where we started. Okay, so when it comes to ADA, yeah, the downside risk in a bull market at the very least is the bull market support band, which again currently ranges from a modest 73 cents up to 83 cents. So that would represent about a 50% correction or so if we went to that level. Now, one thing to consider, what's going on with Doge? Okay, and you might say, well, why is he talking about this? Well, there's something interesting going on, because when you look at this Doge move, it actually looks somewhat similar to what happened in January. Okay, so Doge started moving here January 27th of 2021, and we're gonna see what happened. It moved up by about 1,200% over 11 days. It moved up by about 1,200% over 11 days. And then we look to see what's going on now, and it's hard to know exactly where to take it from, but I'm gonna take it from here, maybe actually from here when we really first started moving. And it just went up 700% over 5 days. Okay, so could it go up further? Of course it could. Of course it could. But that's not what I'm talking about. What am I talking about? It hit its local top the first week of February. So Doge hit its first top the first week of February. What was ADA doing in February? Okay, let's go take a look. Let's go see what ADA did in February. And maybe by looking at this, it can provide some more insight into where we could theoretically be. Okay, so we go February. So Doge, let's get the exact day. So Doge peaked, it looks like, on February 7th, the local top. Obviously, it's gone much higher now, but the local top from early February until mid-April or so was around February 7th. And what was going on with ADA on February 7th? Well, let's go look. So ADA on February 7th was in the middle of continuing to move up. And at the time, it was only 63 cents. So February 7th, ADA was 63 cents. And it was able to continue moving up another 143% or so before it finally cooled back down and went sideways for a couple months. So I'm not showing you guys Dogecoin to say, hey, look at this. This one's going crazy. I'm showing that, just because Dogecoin is going crazy right now does not mean you should necessarily sell all your ADA and go chase a pump. I think that would be a ridiculous thing. And I just see people in the chat on Telegram, on Twitter, saying they want to sell their altcoin positions or even worse, their Bitcoin position and go chase Doge after it's up significantly. And the hard part is we don't really know where the Doge top is. But what I can say is that last time Doge did something like this, it then cooled off for a while, and during this time we saw ADA doing ridiculous things, going up another more than about 2.5x from where it currently was, because it went from around 60 something cents up to around $1.50 before consolidating all the way back down and sort of becoming range bound for a couple months. So we look at this and we say, all right, what does the market depend on? The market always depends on Bitcoin, and that hasn't changed. And until we've had a decisive pullback to say the bull market support band, then I don't think there's anything. I more or less see this as par for the course. Par for the course. Nothing has really changed with ADA. You look at ADA USD, still looks good. I mean, it's currently at the price it was 2 or 3 days ago. To me, that's somewhat irrelevant. And yes, I say this in somewhat of a tone where I'm saying, don't worry. Of course there's downside risk. Again, of course there's downside risk. But looking at a 2 or 3% drop is not really that much, in my opinion. Even if you measure it from the top of the wick to the bottom, it's still not that crazy. And again, ADA Ether looks fine. ADA Bitcoin, we're still at that same level. Again, nothing has changed here. And if we were able to move up, if we were able to move back up to say this level, which is where we were in early 2018, that would represent another 78% move against an invariant Bitcoin, and another 78% move from the current price of ADA would be over $2. Okay, it'd be well over $2. So what I'm trying to say, in the grand scheme of a market cycle, do not worry so much about short-term moves. Yes, the market is heated. But these are things you have to navigate in crypto, and take risk off the table when you want, right? You can always take profits. But what I'm doing right now is I'm sort of letting my position ride. And again, as a reminder, ITC stake pool. Okay, so there's almost, I believe there's almost 7 million ADA locked up. Well, it's not locked up. You can unstake at any time, but there is about almost 7 million ADA in that pool. And just for reference, you could be earning just over 5% on your ADA APY. Might not sound like a whole lot if you're used to 20 or 30% gains a day, but again, it adds up. And then if ADA goes up several multiples, then having that interest could actually make a big difference down the line. So check out the ITC stake pool if you want to stake your ADA with me. At the very least, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. We have the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com if you're looking for exclusive content, weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, the Into the Cryptoverse app. We have more coming. We also recently just launched merchandise, so if you want to go buy some Into the Cryptoverse merch, you can find that in the description below. I'll also probably pin it as a comment if you're looking to get a shirt with, say, like the ITC logo on it. We will have more shirts coming as well. So I think that'll wrap it up. You guys see where we currently stand. We know the downside risk if Bitcoin dumps, but we also recognize that there is still theoretical upside in the event that Bitcoin is able to hold the line. And even if Bitcoin comes back down, as we've seen it do many, many times, it doesn't mean that ADA can't continue to move back up after Bitcoin is consolidating, even at a lower level. Okay, a reminder, the price of ADA 13 months ago was between 2 to 3 cents. Okay, today we're looking at a 143 ADA. Don't tell me ADA doesn't do anything. Now, subscribe to the channel, click that bell icon to turn on your alerts. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time.